Welcome to Hot Takes, brought to you by 50cupstea.com, where united we sip, discuss, and learn. Join us as we dive into the hottest takes on culture, business trends, and the threads that bind us. Get ready for inspiring stories, candid conversations, and a fresh perspective on living a healthy, fulfilled life. Grab your cup and tune in. Let's get started.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Hot Takes. Today is another part of our series, and we'd like to bring in successful business people. And today, we're fortunate to have Anna Lynch with us. She's the owner of Lynch Mykins, an architectural engineering firm here in Raleigh. So welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
We've known each other for a few years. I really respect you a lot. So I thought I'd bring you in today and just have a little chat.
Feelings mutual.
Yeah, appreciate that.
Yeah.
It's unusual. Most people don't say that about me. So what's on your mind today?
Oh, man. I'm actually doing a training today right after this on how to use ChatGPT to do structural engineering. So that's on the forefront of my brain. I'm ready to get my engineers to be a little bit more efficient by using AI. Man, they don't want to use it. So,
I mean, it seems like it's taking the world by storm. And,
yeah.
Over this company that I'm consulting with right now, we're kind of looking at it to do, emails and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
And I think everybody could just press this magic button and suddenly, what would take, 10 or 15 minutes or hours, it takes like 2 minutes. What do you think about it?
I think it's absolutely amazing. And I think that if you're, I feel like to my core that I'm a trailblazer, meaning I want to be ahead of everyone else. So I have been obsessed with it for years, trying to figure out how to use it to make everyone's life, not necessarily make everyone's life easier, but the shift of people don't want to work quite as much, right? But they still want to do structural engineering and work on buildings, et cetera. I think that if they can actually grasp AI, we could actually change to a 30-hour work week. Instead of them thinking it's taking my job, how can we work less and more efficiently and smartly to make it so we can still stay in this industry in structural engineering? So in my mind, it's a way that we can streamline the way that we do structural engineering and the way that we work in our industry, which is very fast-paced and a little exhausting.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I was thinking, because I used to be in the healthcare world, and you're hearing now that they can do a clinical trial in like 3 hours, right? And I'm thinking, well, if they do that, then my former industry is wiped out. So in your world, the owners, these developers these architects that are designing these buildings or whatever, I mean, is there a situation you see in the future where suddenly engineering firms like yours are...
No, I don't see it, because we sign and seal everything we do. We sign away, we say this is going to be safe, right? And so every building that we sign and seal, we have to review everything, and there's engineering judgment that's required. So you can have AI run the calculations for you, but you have to have engineering judgment to be able to see if it's right, because you are signing your name. If a building falls down and people die, it's secondary manslaughter. So it's a very serious industry, and you can't take that away. We're personally liable for the buildings that we're designing. So I don't see it being wiped away. I think it's more of an efficiency. And then also keeping people in the industry, because it is a very tough, fast-paced industry compared to what it was 20 years ago, where we had 3 years to build a building, and now it's like, can we do it in 6 months? So we have to have the technology to be able to deliver at a faster pace. And other firms, they have 8 software engineers, there are 3,000 engineers. They are building their own AI bots that are basically human at this point, right? And we're a small business. So if I'm behind them, I will be wiped out.
Right.
So it's really, how do we keep small businesses able to compete with the large companies? That's, I would say, the challenge. Not is AI going to take us out?
Well, it's a good thing we brought some de-stress tea today, because that's obviously a topic that could add some stress to your life.
Yeah, it kind of caused me to get a little stressed out.
So tell us a little bit about your background.
So I'm from Iowa. I grew up on a farm in the middle of nowhere. And my mom was a professional waitress at a nice restaurant in the middle of nowhere. So just think about it. It's probably more like a Sammy's over on Hillsborough. And then my dad was a manager of a Pizza Hut. So my growing up, I grew up kind of in the restaurant industry, experiencing my dad managing Pizza Hut through a chain, right, and dealing with his leader and et cetera, and constantly complaining about his leader and the way Pizza Hut ran their business. And then my mom was just like, go, 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 go as a waitress, and then she moved up and became the manager of all the waitresses, et cetera. So I watched them kind of do that. But they also owned this farm, which was, they had a 10,000 square foot greenhouse in the middle of Iowa. And they grew organic plants and flowers and sold them to the restaurants. And so they always had all these little things going on to make side hustles, right? They always had this passion to never have to work for someone else. Never actually occurred, but man, did they work hard. And I have 3 siblings. I'm the third of 4 girls. And, I watched them work their butts off. They were hard workers. They were always hustling and trying new businesses. Like my mom opened a restaurant that failed. Then they opened this factory to make pig ears because it's Iowa. There's nothing to do with pig ears. So they started making pig ears for dog treats. That went bankrupt. So then they declared bankruptcy. So they were always in this spiral of depression and excitement as entrepreneurs. And so I was watching them growing up and I'm like, don't be an entrepreneur. What is the most stable job you could possibly get that will be needed forever? I remember I went to the library and I actually looked it up in a book, and it was an engineer or a doctor.
Now, were you good at math at the time?
Yes, I was. Okay. Math and science. Everyone's like, math and science, math and science. You're so smart. You're so smart. I am super competitive. So I always wanted to get the highest grade in everything. And in English, I just never could get there. But math and science, always got 100% on every exam. I was very dedicated to being the best in math and science. Plus, I thought it was really cool because I was a girl. So I loved being the underdog, and it really drove me into getting, really focusing on being good at something that I wasn't supposed to be good at. So engineering. And then I decided also that I didn't want to take home ec because I always have to do the opposite of what everyone else is doing. All the women are in home ec. And so I was like, I'm going to take all the industrial arts classes. And my teacher in 7th and 8th grade, really focused on me. He was like, you're really good at building things. And I won a competition for bridge design with balsa wood and who could carry the most weight. And to this day, it's still on the wall.
Wow.
At my 7th grade school. And no one's been able to beat it. And he was like, you need to be an engineer. And at that moment, that's where I was like, you know what? I don't really know what I want to do. Right. So that makes sense. So you're in shop class in time with the goggles on and sawing wood and all that kind of stuff? Yeah, doing electrical work and all that kind of stuff. I loved it because it was hands-on work. So then my dad moved down to Mexico when I was 15. With your mom or without your mom? Without my mom. So they got divorced? Disappeared. Got divorced. Okay. Then he just walked out. He walked out, left my mom, waitress, with 4 kids. And why Mexico? Because you don't have to pay child support. Okay. Oh, yeah. Wow. So he had a warrant out for his arrest. Did you see this coming? Were they getting along? Well, he was starting a factory down there. Okay. For the pig ear company. Okay. And then when it went bankrupt, he just stayed down there because no one could sue him also. Got it. So he was leading that and tanked it. Okay. And so he screwed his best friend out of a lot of money and never paid him back. So it was a very... Even today, he hasn't paid him back? No, he's never paid it back. Okay. Which is what's crazy is my mom ended up marrying him. The best friend? The best friend. Oh my God, so we got a lot of stuff to talk about today. So anyways, I wanted to get the hell out of there. How old are you when he's in Mexico? I was 15. All right. And so And are you going down to visit him every once in a while? No. Never. No. That was it. Game over. That was it. He was out. So your mom's really thrilled at this point in time. Yeah, very thrilled. Yes. That can't be good for the household. No, it wasn't. It wasn't. But I really think that's the moment that I stepped up into the leadership role of the family of, all right, I need to make sure everyone's okay. And what were your older sisters doing? My oldest sister was at college. My sister that's 1 year older than me, she was, a troublemaker at that time, smoking pot in her bedroom, and I'm like, nope, you need to get to college. You're going to college. You can't flunk out of school. And she was not really listening to me. And then my younger sister, she went on every date I ever went on. Like I took her everywhere. I made sure she got to school. I made sure just took that role on and made sure everyone, and it's crazy because we all got college degrees. We all went on, paid for our own colleges, and are all very successful in our own way. So it was, when I left, I was like, I need to get as far away from Iowa as possible.
Now, didn't you have like an accident at one point in time? They threw you into a pickup truck?
Yes, that's right.
So,
yeah.
That's
a lot of tragedies here. So yeah, when I was 16, so my dad had just left, I went on vacation with a friend and her parents, and we went out to Wyoming and we went four-wheeling. And I was in Yellowstone and I was four-wheeling on my own. I've never four-wheeled in my life, and was trying to impress the 16-year-old boy that we were with. And I hit a dip, I jumped off, rolled down the mountain, and the four-wheeler landed on my foot. And so I shattered my ankle and broke all bones in my leg. So my foot was disconnected it was connected by muscle only. And so at that time, my dad was in Mexico, my mom was working a lot, and my friend's parents were like, okay, well, I wasn't 18, so they couldn't give me any meds or anything. So they had to, they couldn't airlift me. My mom didn't have health care. There was a lot of issues. And in the end, they put me in the back of the pickup and drove me 15 hours back to Iowa because they wanted to amputate my leg in Wyoming. And they couldn't get a hold of my parents to get medication, so I was on ibuprofen in the back of a pickup.
Was it summertime or wintertime?
It was summer. But I was in the most pain. And,
I can't imagine. It's got to be awful.
Yeah, I was.
Is anybody back there with you?
My friend, my girlfriend, and she was just up in arms, like didn't know what to do. No one knew what to do. You know, when you're in that much pain and you have no medication, you're losing your mind, right? And so I ended up getting to Iowa. My mom took me to the hospital there, and they wanted to amputate. And so she drove me overnight to the Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Minnesota, and we waited in the waiting room for 3 days to get in.
Because you had no insurance?
Because we have no insurance, and I wasn't dying.
You could have gotten infected. You could have been on septic in 3 seconds.
Doesn't matter. People from around the world go to the Mayo Clinic. So the closer you are to death.
Don't go to ER at the Mayo?
No. Not unless you're going to die. So long story short, I actually got surgery, but it was about 6 months, or it was about 6 weeks after I was in the ER because the swelling was too high, all this other stuff. And when I went under, they said, I hope you have a leg when you wake up. And I said, I don't care to cut it off. Like I lost my mind.
Yeah.
So I do think that moment in my life was another moment of my life is in my control. All of those moments where I wasn't in control because I was 16. I couldn't make any hard decisions. I couldn't get them to give me meds. I couldn't get them to just cut off my leg. I couldn't, like, all these things, which is good. But when I turned 18, I'm like, everything I do, I need to think about, is this what I need and what I want? That's because taking risks like that, four-wheeling, jumping off mountains, I love it. I love risk. But I have to really think about, is it something that's going to make me happy, or is it something I'm doing to impress someone?
Right.
So, sorry, tangent.
Yeah, but life lesson, right?
Yes, life lesson.
So you're taking control. So you get healed up, and then you get a scholarship to go to college.
I did. I applied to all my dream universities. I applied to Harvard, Duke. That's how I learned about North Carolina, Penn State, and I got in everywhere but Harvard. And then I got all the prices to go everywhere, and I was devastated to learn how expensive it was. And I had maybe $3,000 at that time. And obviously my parents weren't going to pay for it. And so I started applying for every scholarship, no matter if I was qualified or not. And I was on a typewriter, endless, right? Typing. And in the end, I ended up getting around $8,000 in scholarships. And Wyoming offered me even more. I think they offered me 11. And it was only like $1,500 a semester because I wasn't from Wyoming, because no one goes to Wyoming for college.
Right.
And so when I ran the numbers, I'm like, I can graduate with zero debt. So I chose Wyoming, even though I had zero interest in being in the mountains. I wanted to be somewhere warm. hence why I ended up in North Carolina. But so I went to Wyoming for architectural engineering.
So I've been there before.
Okay.
And it's kind of a out in the middle of nowhere town.
It is. There's nothing there.
Was it a good experience?
No. I tried to transfer my sophomore year to Penn State. Like I ran all the numbers. I was like, okay, I can make this happen kind of thing. And I remember calling Penn State and they're like, we don't take transfers. I was like,
really?
Yeah, they didn't.
What time frame was this, by the way?
This was 2001.
Okay.
Yeah. So I graduated in 1999.
Okay.
High school. So in 2001, I decided to buckle down and just finish my degree. I loved college. I didn't drink until I was 21, alcohol. And so college, I was like...
Because of the control thing again? Or?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it was just... I knew that I wasn't going to be fully available to be successful for myself if I was drinking.
And are you one in terms of females in the engineering school?
Oh, I was one of 3 of, I think, 70 students.
Okay.
And the other women I'm still friends with, actually. And none of them are... One of them is a structural engineer. The other one is not. So, but I honestly didn't even think about it. I was like, ooh, more boys to date.
You like engineers, I take it.
I did in college. I was like, don't marry one, though, because that'd be boring.
So did you end up going to grad school after that?
I didn't. I honestly, getting an engineering degree was one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life. I am not a natural, I would say, engineer. Like being in the weeds is not my natural state. Now I know that. I didn't know that when I was younger. I'm more of a visionary, big picture thinker. So it was really, really difficult. And I did not get a 4.0. I got like I think it was like was it 3.1? So it was okay.
Respectable.
It was okay. Yeah. And I had the wrong grades to be a structural engineer. Like I got a C in structural analysis, but an A in the history of the miniskirt, whatever it is. So it wasn't really aligned. So I knew it was going to be difficult to get a structural engineering job. And so I applied everywhere. Like, back then it was faxing my resume. And I was like, I might as well try to be a structural engineer before I get my master's degree. Everyone was going to get their master's degree. I'm like, I just want to go work hard and make money. Like, I need to learn how to do what I just spent all this money getting a degree in so I can be the expert and start making real money. I feel like the instability growing up with the lack of money and bankruptcies, et cetera, the whole goal was for stability.
Right.
How can I make money to feel stable for myself? And that's it.
The money's a motivator for you.
Yeah. And I did not care about the degree. I wasn't like, oh, let me do what I'm passionate about. Right. I'm like, no. So North Carolina, the firm I currently still am at, offered me the most money, Stroud Pence. And so I packed all my shit up from Wyoming and drove here to Raleigh, North Carolina with no air conditioning in my car. And
what was your salary back then?
It was $41,000. Man, I was high flying. I was like, I'm going to get a car with air conditioning. I think
back then Raleigh was pretty nice cost of living here then.
Oh yeah, it was really.
Now it's a different story.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. But $41,000 a year, zero debt. Mm-hmm. I was good. I was like, I could, go buy clothing and stuff.
How big's their firm at that point in time?
They were 30, I think.
30 people?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the Raleigh office, because they were headquartered in Virginia Beach, the Raleigh office was 4.
Okay.
So, and I was the 5th employee. And Dave Mykins, when I came in to interview, he's like, I'm not hiring. But I flew out for spring break. Everyone else was going to the Caribbean. I flew to Raleigh. And I went door to door every place I sent my resume. And every place I walked in, they're like, I don't remember your resume. I'm like, it's from Wyoming. You can go find it. And they're like, she's kidding, right? I'm like, no, I'm not kidding.
It's only one Wyoming resume, right?
No, I mean, I flew here from Wyoming. You could at least have lunch with me. And that's what Dave Mykins was like, I'll have lunch with you. He's like, I'm not really hiring. And then he was the first one to send me an offer. So, and I really, really did connect with him at that lunch. He was asking me questions that were really throwing me off. Like, do you drink beer? I'm like, what's the right answer? Yes. And he's like, yeah, that's okay. And he was just super chill about it.
You just want to see if you were normal?
Yeah, it was like, and then when I told him I had 3 jobs in college while I was getting my degree, he was like, yeah, I'm hiring you.
Yeah.
And he'll say that to this day. He's like, she has grit. She's just like works really hard. She'll do whatever it takes. So he gave me an opportunity because he was hiring people with 4.0s. There was a lot of engineers available at that time. That was 2003.
So it's one of my questions too, which I think I already know the answer to, but you know, is there a moment in time or is it just an accumulated experiences that gave you your grit?
I would say the latter. Yeah. I feel like grit to me is being able to push through hard times and not be a victim of the hard time because the only thing I can control is myself. And so, yes, I had my own pity party when I almost lost my leg. My mom was like, you need to pull it together. You know, I think that moment, my dad leaving was a moment. That was a moment. Like there's just over and over and over again. I knew I just had to put my big girl pants on and just be the adult, even though I'm not the adult, and just get it done. So.
And then when you were doing these 3 jobs in college, and did you have any experiences there that have, you know, life lessons that have helped you along the way?
It's not about what you're doing. It's about how much joy you can find in what you're doing. Like, I feel like every day you decide if you want to be happy doing what you're doing. Every day. I'm like, I had to figure that out. Otherwise, I would just constantly be moping around. Like, I got to work 3 jobs and that's a trust fund kid over there and this and that, comparing yourself to everyone. I'm like, what is that getting me? And in college, I realized having 3 jobs and getting an engineering degree and paying for your own college in Wyoming, in the middle of nowhere, like all those things actually made me more valuable. It actually made me better. It actually made me who I am today, which I don't think, if I didn't do all of those things at the same time, I wouldn't be here. There's no way, because it was difficult. Yeah. And I couldn't blame anyone. I didn't have anyone to save me either. Like nowadays, you know, people are paying for their kids' cell phones and their healthcare and their apartments, and they're always saving them. And I'm like, no one was saving me. I had to just get her done.
Yeah.
So
sometimes that's the best thing.
I think
not in the way you know, the leg and everything else in Mexico and
I mean,
all these other crazy stuff. But
I'm okay.
Right.
It's okay. We're all okay.
So you end up going to work for Dave.
I did. Yeah.
Was there a buyout at that point in time? Like how did the firm become his and yours?
Yeah. So 2003, I started with Dave. He got promoted. He was the branch manager of the Raleigh office. He got promoted to the headquarters to be the branch manager up there. He promoted the most senior engineer in my office, and there was 5 of us. So Jeff became my boss, and Dave went on his merry way. And I really respected Dave, and I missed him immensely. I worked for Jeff for maybe 3 months, and during that time, he laid off a lot of people. I think it got down to 2, right? And I'm still there. Maybe 3 people. It was up to like 8, and then it got down to 3. And I'm like, I went to Jeff and I said, why am I still here? I'm not the best engineer. And he's like, the clients love you and you never miss a deadline. You're so good at what you do. Like I got to keep you. Otherwise, if you leave, I'm gonna have to lay off more people because you keep the clients, kind of thing. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. And I started thinking, like, how do I get more clients? If they like me, I can help Jeff by winning more work. So I started, what's marketing? What's business development? How are you losing money? What are you spending on? Like, show me the balance sheet. Like, why are you buying sodas for everyone? Like, what is this? You know, I was just obsessed with everything going on because I was like, I don't want you to lay off anyone else. For some odd reason, I didn't think I should go somewhere else and get a stable job. I'm like, let me save this guy.
Well, you kind of saved your family, right? So you're quote unquote a saver if you.
I am.
And a fixer.
I am a fixer. I'm like, ooh, there's a problem. Hey, let me put all my energy into it for other people. So with that, I did that for about a year, and then that office became the most financially stable. And I was just an engineer. I was a project engineer. I wasn't even licensed yet. And I think 3 months later, I passed the SC exam, which was a big deal. And I went to Dave Mykins and I said, I don't want to do Jeff's job anymore. And they came down and fired Jeff. And they're like, hey, you are now run the Raleigh office. And I was 28 or something. And they're like, but to run the Raleigh office, you have to be a partner. So you have to buy into the company. And I was like, well, I don't even know what that means. I don't know anything about business finances. And it was a separate financial entity. So each one of them had their own finances. I didn't know anything about business at all. And I remember talking to my husband, Jerry, and I said, this is crazy. I don't know anything about business. I have zero interest in it. I just want to be an engineer. This is going to be distracting, whatever. He's like, they're going to teach you how to run a business for free? And I was like, yeah, I guess. And he's like, seems like a pretty good deal. I'm like, okay, you're right. Why not? Why not? So Jeff still actually works for me now. He stuck around and worked for me. We just kind of switched roles.
Oh, so Jeff never got laid off then, or fired?
He did, but then he came to me and asked for a job.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you snuck Jerry in there. So let's pause for a second.
Okay.
How do you hook up with Jerry?
Yeah. So when I moved to Raleigh, I actually was engaged with a guy from Wyoming, and we moved here, and I ended up breaking up with him, and I met Jerry like the week after I broke up with that guy, and I was with that guy at the Durham Beer Fest.
When you saw Jerry? When
I saw Jerry, and so I hit on Jerry. Of course, right? And the rest is kind of history, but the first year, like after I met Jerry, I was like, no, I'm doing the year of yes. Meaning every guy that asked me out, I was going to say yes with zero judgment. And he was like,
sure, you got some stories on that?
Oh, yeah. But Jerry stuck around for that whole year. He was my Sunday date. Every Sunday I'd get together with him.
You didn't even get a Saturday night or a Friday every once in a while?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
He made it a whole year. And then he was like, I'm in love with you. Can we be together? Can you break up with everyone? And I was like, yeah, you're right. Let's do this. And we've been together since.
Oh, good.
So.
All right. So we got Jerry taken care of now.
There you go.
So you're learning the business for free, but you said you had to buy in. So how did you end up engineering that?
So I did a note with the original owner, and I think I paid $60,000 for some shares, which was a lot of money to me. So I had a note with him for $60,000.
And you know what you got for that? Was it 10%?
In the end?
Yeah.
I lost money. In the end.
Yeah, I figured that. But like, what kind of percentage were you getting though? Do you remember? At the time?
3%.
Okay.
Yeah, it was very low.
So they really cranked up the value of the business then.
Mm-hmm. It was really.
It was a promissory note. They're just taking out your paycheck kind of thing.
So every bonus I got,
gone.
Yeah. Not cool. Didn't like it at all. I'm like, wait, what am I doing? So never bought any more stock again, which was very frustrating to them because I was growing the Raleigh office to be the biggest. I got it up to, I think, 25 people, and I was financially saving the other offices year after year for about 3 years. And they're like, she needs to get bought in. She needs to buy in. She needs to buy in because they wanted to retire, right?
Yeah, and they don't want to lose you either.
No, they didn't. And at that time, I stopped caring about money. I could have left and made a lot more money somewhere else. It wasn't about that. It was about fixing it. I wanted to fix Stroud Pence so badly. But every time I was at the table as one of the owners, there was 11 of us, they wouldn't listen to me. Over the years, for 5 years, I was a small percentage owner, like 1 or 2%. And over the years, like a few people got bought in. They're like, okay, Anna actually knows what she's saying. Maybe we should listen and stop not listening. So when I ended up quitting again in 2016, I had some really good people on my side, on the ownership side at Stroud Pence. And they were like, I quit to Dave Mykins first. And Dave was like, oh my God, no, you can't do that. What are you going to do? And I said, I'm going to start my own firm. And that was on a Friday. He called me on Sunday. He said, can I go with you? And I said, well, what is this about? Because he'd been with the firm for 35 years at that time. And he's like, I don't want to go down with the sinking ship. Whatever you are building, I want to be a part of because that ship is going to be safe. And it's going to be amazing. And I want to be a part of it. I'll do everything you don't want to do. So we agreed to a 49% ownership of this new entity. And so when we told the owners of Stroud Pence we were leaving, they said, you might as well just buy the whole company because it's going to go under if you guys leave. So in the end, we negotiated the deal. So then I became obsessed with how do you buy a company? So I had to learn how to run a company in those 5 years, how to make it profitable, how to fix it, how to save it, how to win work, what is marketing, all the things around business, HR, humans. And then the next year was like how to buy a company, how to go into debt for a lot of money, right? It's just like every year of my life, I feel like there's this big thing that I get to learn, which is really exciting, which is one of the things that drives me. So we had closed on Stroud Pence in April of 2017. So I quit in November 2016 and was the owner by April. It was very fast.
Then you borrowed money to buy the other partners out.
Well, this is what's interesting is we talked them into, so the day that we owned the company, we had zero AR. So we had $0. And it was probably around $300,000 a month to run the company at that time. So we're like, hey, can we borrow from your AR as you collect the AR? Because they were going to use the collection of the AR to pay out the stock owners of Stroud Pence. Mm-hmm. Can we take a loan out on that to get us off the ground for the first whatever months it took? So I think it took us 3 months. So it was around $900,000 that we'd loaned from them to get the company off. So we never took a loan from any bank. Okay. If that makes sense. Yeah. And it ended up working out really well. They gave us 5 years to pay them back. So the stock owners of Stroud Pence didn't get paid out their ownership from Stroud Pence until just recently, a couple years ago. That was a good deal.
Here's a hot take on some 50 Cups tea.
Our de-stress tea is great for relaxation as it contains ingredients like chamomile, valerian root, honeybush, and dried orange. Chamomile assists in anxiety as well as the ability to help you fall asleep. Valerian root helps slow down nerve activity, which promotes for anti-anxiety. Honeybush helps calm the central nervous system, and the dried orange replenishes vitamin C reserves as well as reducing cortisol levels.
Visit 50cupstea.com to find out more.
Okay, so now you're running it with Dave, and then 2022, 2023?
2020, oh gosh, it's 2025. It's been 3 years, so 2022.
Yeah, suddenly Dave wants out.
Yeah. So in 2000.
Was that a shock to you?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, it was.
But he's older, right?
He is. He's in his mid-60s. Mm-hmm. He said he had 10 years left in him when we went into business together, because that was really important to me, because he was in his late 50s, I think, at that time. And I'm like, well, I need 10 years. He was like, yeah, 10 years. And he made it 5. And if he was sitting here right now, he'd say he didn't think it was going to grow to what it was. He thought it was going to be what it is, right? What it is at that time, and I'm like, oh, we're going to grow it. We're going to double the revenue and all this. He's like, oh, okay. And I think he really thought like, oh, that's cute. And then every year it grew 20% every year. And as structural engineers, he's a phenomenal structural engineer. As structural engineers, it's high risk, very high risk to own a structural engineering firm. Buildings fall down and a lot of people die. It's riskier than being a doctor. Yeah, if a doctor screws up, one person dies. Yeah. So being a structural engineer takes someone that can sleep at night with that kind of risk. And if you think about engineers, they hate risk. So engineers that are structural engineers are very rare. And so Dave could take a certain amount of risk, like you reviewing every set of drawings that go out the door. But when you become 70 people, one human cannot review everything going out the door. So there's a level of trust that you need with your engineers is very difficult. And so for me, I sleep really well at night. I trust people. And Dave was really struggling with that. So I think it was about the size of the company and how much risk that was.
Well, the other thing too is when you're growing a business, you think, man, if I can just get this thing bigger, I'll make more money. My jobs might be different, but it's going to be a lot easier. In reality, it's not. You actually work harder and harder as you get bigger and bigger. And I think a lot of people don't understand that. And then, of course, you have that sect out there when they're big. Now suddenly they want to give the keys to the kingdom to somebody else, hire some stranger, operator or whatever. They then go travel, 12 months out of the year, and then the business usually goes down at that point in time. Yeah. So he's stressed out. Have to ask you though, any projects that you did they ever have issues?
Nope.
Nothing's fallen down yet? Nothing's eroded?
Nope. 22 years.
All right. That's great.
No issues.
That's phenomenal. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyhow,
So Dave retired, I would say, retired. He still works for me.
As a consultant.
Yeah, as a consultant. So
But you had to buy him out then too, right?
I did. I bought him out in 2022.
And now you own 100% of the 100%. Business.
That's right.
And what's it like being a sole owner then?
Not a big fan of it. I realize how much I love building things together. I'm not a single builder. Like that's why I never started a startup. I don't start something alone. Everything I've done was with someone else. And so, they say it's lonely at the top, and I think when you have a board or you have a partner, you have that person that you can brainstorm with or vent with and all of that. And so in the last few years, running the company alone has been very lonely and very difficult because it's hard. There's no one that I have that understands all the things that I'm struggling with or hard to make decisions alone. Not hard, but you're like, okay, well, brainstormed on my own in my head. I hope it's the right one. That's kind of how I met you because I joined the Vista group.
Right.
Because I thought that was the spot where I could find people that understood what I was feeling and I could brainstorm with. So
yeah. How's that working out for you?
I've met some really great people in it. I think I do have that with certain things, certain aspects of the business. Like if it's financial, because I'm the CFO too, right? So I'm like, if I have financial questions, I know who in the group I go talk to. If I have marketing issues or questions or brainstorming, I know who to go to. So it's kind of like everyone kind of has their little expertise. So now I'm trying to figure out what everyone thinks I'm the expert at. I'm not sure yet.
So but there's no mentors with engineers. I mean,
That's right.
Are you still collaborating with Dave every once in a while?
Not really.
No.
Not really. He's, working from home and really just doing quality control for us, which is good. That's what he was really good at.
Yeah.
So no, I have reached out to several engineering firm owners, but there's no one that is trying to build something like what I'm trying to build. I think engineering firms are so old school still. It's like it's still 1980 and the owners are 60s, 70s. They don't retire, and there's no one starting structural engineering firms.
And do you guys have a sweet spot? Are you, multi-story buildings? Are you bridges?
Oh, man. No, we don't do bridges. We do pedestrian bridges, but nothing you drive on. And I would say our expertise is big projects. We're doing the new convention center for the city of Raleigh. That's a $350 million project. We're doing the new Red Hat Amphitheater. We're doing the PNC Arena edition. Anything
That's
big.
great. Yeah.
Yeah, the big projects, I'd say we're known for. I spend a lot of time and energy training engineers to be amazing project managers, which is human skills, communication, clarity, like accountability and responsiveness and all the things. And I think being able to do just so many things at the same time, like multitasking and delegating, et cetera, which are things that engineers really struggle with. And so because of that, we have phenomenal project managers that can run large projects. But we're also known for being the woman-owned structural engineering firm because there is none. They don't exist. There was one in Richmond. She shut up shop last year. So we have a community that's really supportive of us being hub certified. So we do a lot of parks projects and a lot of community work.
That's good.
Yeah.
So from a owner, manager, leader, what do you think your sweet spot strength is? And then what are some of the things that you struggle with still?
I would say owner, manager, leader. My sweet spot is inspiring people. I'm like, I got a lot of passion for what I'm building and the company and what I do. And that passion comes out because I communicate all the time. It's like one of my strengths. It's constantly communicating, providing that clarity also. So everyone kind of, if I can just get my energy out there to the employees and the staff, they're like excited and energized and inspired, and they want to be a part of that, right? Bringing that energy. I think that's my ultimate strength. And then also I move at a very, 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 very fast pace. I communicate really fast. I make decisions very fast. I can do a multitasking. So that's a strength to run a small business. There's nothing that I'm dropping the ball on right now. And I'm doing a lot of positions, and that's okay for me. And I bounce back like that. It doesn't suck the life out of me, if that makes sense. My biggest weakness, I would say, is training other leaders. not great at it. Thought I was learning my lesson, right? And I'm like, because I'm trying to inspire them and I'm using this natural inspiration, but they're like, what do you actually want me to do?
Right.
Right. They're not naturally coming up. They're not naturally strategic. Right. I thought they were all going to be strategic like me.
That's why they call them employees.
Yeah.
Right. Everybody's like you.
Yeah. So I'm having to realize that I'm not the best coach when it comes to leadership.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm actually outsourcing a lot of that because there's people that are way better at it than I am.
Sure.
And I don't want to hold them back in their career because I need to learn how to do it. So that's where I'm at right now on that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, sounds like a great story so far. So outside of AI, are we in this country, we're going to start building a lot of stuff again? Or is it, I know we're in a hot market here.
Yeah, we are.
But you go to other places in the country and nothing's going on.
Yeah. It's unfortunate. I actually talked to a guy that owns a structural engineering firm in Vancouver last night, and he was telling me he was doing layoffs. Part of it was he was like, do you need anyone? Because these are really great people and I respect you. So that was really cool. But I felt bad for him, but we've all been through it at this time. So we are in a hot market. That means that everyone is opening offices here. So every structural engineer.
A lot of competition.
Way more than a decade ago. Like the largest structural engineering firm in the United States opened an office here. And there's, offering a lot of money to my employees. So that's incredibly frustrating. But they're opening offices here because the market is great. Yeah. And I just actually have a project that I just won yesterday that's a new office building in Cary. Who knew?
Wow.
So yeah, everything's starting back up. Funding's coming back. Big projects are out. NC State has a $900 million housing project that just came out. Now, every structural engineer in the United States chased it. I swear to God. It's crazy. So the competition is tough. For us as a small company, I'm like, hey, look, we did one housing project that was the same size at Virginia Tech. That's my experience. The firm in New York City, they've done 50 and they've been around for 200 years. So it's going to be an interesting process. That interview's in April. So
good luck with that.
Thank you. But yeah, the market's good. It's coming back. It's just we need more structural engineers in the market. So hopefully some of them will.
Yeah. Are the schools graduating a lot of them these days?
Less and less. NC State's going to build a new engineering building. And I think for some reason kids care about the building they're in. Not what they're learning. I don't understand that, but or the cost.
I like facilities.
Yes, they do. Which is good for my business. So it's hard to.
Well, they have so much money they have to build anyhow to justify the money. Right.
That's true. So hopefully NC State starts, educating more civil engineers, structural engineers.
That'd be good. So let's switch to personal. What are some of your life loves?
Man, I love health, honestly. What you eat, working out, the body, all the things. How do we function? How do our bodies function? And how can we treat it the best we can? Obsessed with it a little bit. And then travel. As a young kid from Iowa, not having a passport until I moved to Raleigh, I went to Spain at 16 because I sold enough pies to go for free. So I got it at 16. I was like, oh my God, is this the world? Like, I need to see it all. And so I try really hard to leave the United States twice a year. And trying really hard means talking myself into thinking that I have the time. So travel, health, my family.
Did you grow up on a lot of pizza?
I did. I cannot even smell pizza.
So from a health perspective, like what are your typical diet for you? What kind of workout do you do?
Yeah. So what I eat, or let's do what I don't eat. Seed oils.
I know you're a big anti-seed oil person.
Oh man, no seed oils. No refined sugar. Actually, just no sugar. I really try not to eat anything that spikes my blood sugar. I don't eat gluten. I don't eat soy. Anything processed, really. Anything that's in a bag. Anything that has a label where you can see how many calories you have so you can count them. Mm-hmm. I was obese when I left college. I had like 40 pounds in college. And so when I moved to Raleigh, I was working one job. I was like, what do you do with time? Like, it was wild. I'm like, what do people do with all this time? So at night I was like, yes, I'll go to the gym. And then I became obsessed with CrossFit. That was before CrossFit was a big thing because they had videos online. So got into lifting heavy. I hated cardio and just started lifting, and I got really bulky, right? And then I was like, well, I'm not really thin because I was like in my 20s, and I'm like, well, men want me to be thin, and I need to find a husband. So I was like, I need to not look like a man with muscles, so I'm going to be thin. Then I was like the crazy lady on the elliptical, burning 1,000 calories and eating 900, right? And then I got really skinny. Wasn't really functioning. My brain wasn't working, all the things. Then I joined Weight Watchers. Like, I did it all. I was like obsessed. Like, I'm very disciplined. Whatever I decide I'm going to do, that's what I'm doing. There's no...
Oh, I can't figure that out yet.
Yeah. So over the years, I was raw diet. I did a raw diet for a year. I couldn't even walk up steps without taking a break.
Oh my God. There's no...
Then I was a vegan. Then I was like, screw that shit. Sorry.
It's all right.
I've
only done it twice so far, so we're good.
And then I switched over to paleo and then ended up on the carnivore. So I'd say I don't like to say I'm on a diet. It's like a light carnivore lifestyle.
Not to crack on vegans, but were you happy as a vegan?
No.
Yeah, because I got to believe first of all, half the stuff doesn't taste good. And then
I was just like walking around with bags of spinach, I was like gnawing on it. I felt like a rabbit. I'm like, how am I surviving? Like, it was my body.
Hungry 24/7.
I was so hungry because I like to work out too, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the other thing with working out, I feel like phases of working out in my whole life has changed. And now I'm in my mid-40s. I'm 44. So now I'm trying to treat my body a little nicer. So I do private Pilates, more of like stretching your muscles and doing stretches every day and calisthenics and trying to change the way that I eat and the way that I work out based on the age that I am so my body can age gracefully.
Yeah, that sounds great. So why do you travel? Like, what is it other than seeing great things and learning? Yeah. Like, what's the reason?
I think to disconnect. Are
you able to do that?
Yes.
So you're not in Spain checking your phone at 10 o'clock at night and it's 4 o'clock back in the U.S.? No? No.
I disconnect and like just disengage almost. Like, I'm so engaged in everything around me, the multitasking, right? So that, and then I love the strategy behind traveling. So if you talk to anyone, they're like, Anna goes to the craziest places. Like, I'm not going to Rome and going to all the same things that everyone else is doing. I'm in the middle of freaking nowhere doing the most random thing that you can't find until you get to like the 15th page of Google.
So give us an example.
Like, we stayed in New Zealand. We stayed in a glass off-the-grid tiny house on a 10,000 acre farm 3 hours north of any town, not city. So we had to rent a car, drive 3 hours. We had to get in the back of the pickup of the farmer because there's no internet. He drove us through 2 rivers, stopped, and he was like, okay, you hike 3 miles that way. That's where the tiny house is. And we lived off-grid for 3 days in that tiny house. Didn't see another human.
How do you find that?
Just endless research.
You can't just go on Airbnb and pop it? No. You
can't find it.
Wow.
So I love the research. I mean, I have accounts for everything, for travel. Separate emails, separate, like, TikTok, Instagram, all of that, like who I follow, what I watch, like all the things. Like, I have it coming at me in every direction to choose like where, and we're going to Norway in August. That's our next trip. And where we're staying, I'm like really excited. They are off the grid. So I feel like that ties back to growing up in Iowa in the middle of off the grid.
Do you feel like you get a true sense of the country though when you're off the grid?
I would say no. I don't think it's about that for me.
Right. It's about just disconnecting.
It's disconnecting in a world. Well, I like the strategy of getting there too. Mm-hmm. How are we going to, like, all the planning to get there? I'm the travel planner, right?
And you're happy when you have a delay or a cancellation?
I don't care. Yeah.
Really?
No. Jerry and I love the airport. We're like the happy couple sitting over there like, isn't this great?
Who loves an airport?
We do. No one, I can't talk to anyone. It's too loud. They can't get a hold of me. I'm unavailable.
All right.
So, yeah.
Speaking of that, one of my hot takes, we'll get into the hot take session now. I had to go through this whole, when you're sell your company and then you're kind of a quote unquote consultant, you still need healthcare. And so you go on the exchange, and years ago, the exchange had like 8 or 9 different options. Today it has about 2 in this area. And, the prices have skyrocketed.
I'm sure, yeah.
So I'm going, and they killed off my plan that I had last year, but the company has other plans, but they're just way more expensive, et cetera, et cetera. And but I'm getting calls left and right from all these agents. And I'm like, why are they calling me? I'm just just my wife and I. And so finally I engaged somebody, and he's like, yeah, we can help you get a better plan. I'm like, okay, have at it. So he ends up getting me a plan that's way better, and with the same company, by the way, that I could never see on their website, for $500 cheaper per month. And I thought to myself, it's cheaper to go to an aggregator than it is to go direct to the provider. Case in point, a couple months later, I'm in Denver. I'm in Colorado. I'm trying to fly back, but I'm going to go back. So I'm parking my car at the airport. And I got my little favorite parking spot, that I go to, and they're charging me $18 a day. And I'm thinking that's a deal. But I keep getting these notifications, from Park DIA. So I go online, the same exact parking lot they're offering for $7 a day. So that's my hot take. I thought we were told, go direct because you'll get the best deal. But in reality, if you go through the aggregators, you get the best deal. Have you experienced that?
Yeah, with travel for sure.
As hot about it as I am?
No, I think just strategically now you know, right? I don't know. It's like, I guess for me, I want to do what's the cheapest, right? Because it's strategy wise, it's like, okay, so I want to try to find the best aggregator. That's where I'm at. So anything I'm paying direct, I'm like, where's the best aggregator?
So do you do that when you book a flight too?
Yes.
You go through an aggregator?
Yes.
Like Expedia or something? Totally
I love Expedia.
Yeah.
They always get a good deal. But I'll do like if I'm going to Norway, I'm going to look up who the best aggregator is for Norway Airlines, right? And then I'm going to go through them. So it's difficult to keep up with everything because you have all these aggregators for where you're going in different countries, et cetera, and all the things you're booking. But in the end, it does save you a lot of money. But I like the strategy, and I think it's fun to do it. Like, same with the healthcare at Lynch Mykins. I was like, we have an aggregator, right, to get the best healthcare system. I love screwing.
Yeah, well, that I get for businesses.
Yeah.
But,
all of it. But who's paying that guy?
Well, they are. The insurance companies.
Why? That's aggravating.
So they're paying him to get me a better deal than if I went direct.
Stupid.
That's where I have a problem. Like, I don't understand the business model there. But clearly they must make money, otherwise they wouldn't do it.
Yeah, my hot take is we should become aggregators. Middlemen make a lot of money.
They do. They
Man.
absolutely do. Especially in the pharmaceutical industry. Do you travel? Are you a clear person?
I'm not.
No? So you're just TSA?
I'm TSA.
Going through pre-check?
Pre-check, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
I just got global entry, though.
Okay.
I'm pretty excited about it.
Phenomenal coming back.
Yeah, I can't wait. It did creep me out immensely, though.
Unless you go
all
to
the
Raleigh.
information I had to provide.
Yeah.
I'm like, now they have it.
Yeah.
That's
They
creepy.
do. They'll track you.
Scanning your face, that's what they do now. So I'm like, I can't get around that.
Yeah.
It's like how I don't know. I'm the person that has like the Ring camera and I have like a sticky on it. So
Well,
like
sometimes you got to give away your freedom for convenience, I guess.
I know, right?
But yeah, so I was coming back with global entry to Raleigh, and they had the kiosks all over there, and for some reason, the Border Patrol person wasn't letting anybody go through the kiosks because he was busy with some other people. And I'm like, what's the point in having this thing if we're not allowed to use the machines?
That would piss me
off. So
off.
he finally, when he felt like he was ready, after about 20 minutes, he let us go through the machines to get processed.
All right. Well, I hope that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
I'm going to Costa Rica next week.
Most of the time it doesn't. You're smooth sailing, but
the whole clear thing. I don't want to be that person. The person that's with the clear person going in front of everyone. Like, okay, well, we're going.
Well,
I don't want to be that person.
I have 1 year left on clear because I got a deal through my credit card, and TSA is faster. So I mean, pre-check's faster. I should say TSA is faster. So I'm
not going to do
clear's
it.
not that good.
Okay.
That's a hot take from me.
I'll take it.
I send you a news article. Another hot take of mine. It's paywalled. I can't read it. Drives me crazy.
It does drive. crazy. It pisses me off.
I'm thinking if I'm the Wall Street Journal, let this guy read this thing for free because maybe he'll subscribe.
Yeah.
Instead of paywalling me out and saying, I'll give it to you for $2 for the next 6 months.
Also, like, Wall Street doesn't need any money. The Wall Street Journal doesn't need money,
Maybe
right?
not. Maybe
I don't
not.
know. Like, just stop. I agree. Like, we need to stop charging. But now I just ask ChatGPT all news questions, and they provide all the information that's in all the articles. So,
Really?
yeah.
Yeah, I don't care about the news, more about the opinion stuff.
Yeah,
I guess.
it's all provided.
Wow.
They will take snippets from the article of exactly what I asked, they being ChatGPT, and give you exactly.
You pay for ChatGPT?
I do.
Okay.
I do. I have the 4.0 or whatever, $20 a month.
Got it.
So worth it. I get all my news from it.
Wow. Learning things as I'm speaking with you today.
Yeah.
Then you're building that convention center down in Raleigh, which, by the way, they built one 20 years ago and said, this is going to be the greatest thing since sliced bread. Now they're going to tear it down and build a new one.
No. They're keeping it.
What are they going to do with it?
It's an addition. They're building the convention, the expansion on Red Hat Amphitheater where it's at now.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah. So there'll be a
So it's another
pedestrian.
boondoggle, basically.
Yeah.
So
it's going to be better.
Can you lobby them to stop? Somehow somebody decided last year to put up no right turn on red on all the lights in
gosh.
town. It literally takes you 10 minutes to go around the block now. And there's nobody there. There's no traffic. It's not New York.
Well, I pretend the sign's not there.
Well, me too. But I
Yeah.
mean, what is the logic in that?
I have zero idea. I have actually complained to the city about it because I live downtown Raleigh.
Yeah.
So I'm at every light. It would take me like 5 extra minutes to get to work because of that. So I'm like, you know what? Screw it. I'm taking a right. There's no cops anywhere. Like, no one's enforcing it.
Right.
There must have been 2 idiots that got in a car accident at some point, and then they just changed everything. So I know the mayor. I'm like constantly complaining to her about it. I was like, can you change that? Can you change that? So I am
The new one or the old one?
both.
Both. Okay.
I'm very persistent.
Good.
Now, Mary, she didn't do anything about it, but
Yeah.
Mary Ann, I'm like,
Well, I'll keep hanging out with you then. Maybe you can influence her more. So
Stupid change.
I'll leave you with this. Then I want you to leave with the probably 3 people that are going to watch this.
Okay.
5 takeaways. 5
Okay.
things you want to espouse upon the world as advice.
as advice. Ooh, just ran.
Well,
Okay.
whatever your takeaways are.
Stop being a victim of everyone. Just
Okay.
stop.
Stop playing the victimhood.
Stop playing victimhood. If you even think about blaming someone else, stop yourself. Number 2, you cannot control others. Stop trying to control them. Stop. Because they have to choose to do what you want them to do. And you have zero control over that. So stop complaining about other people because you can't change them. 3, travel. Stop making excuses. Man, the endless excuses. If you want to travel, then go do it. If you don't, then stop talking about it.
Hold on a second.
Okay.
Biggest tip in an airport.
I would say pay extra and just get the best parking. And so you don't have to be there as long.
What about when you're inside waiting for the 3-hour delay?
Just sit down, put your headphones on.
Are you a lounge
and
person?
watch. No.
No.
I love people watching.
Okay.
Oh man, it's so great. I put my earphones on, I can't hear anything, but I just watch people. It's so amazing. I don't know. Observe. So entertaining.
Fair enough.
I don't know how many that was.
That's
but
3. You got 2 more.
I got 2 more.
Yeah.
Let's see what else. Stop eating processed foods. Stop thinking that you need to have sugar to feel good. Stop thinking that food is going to make you happy because it doesn't. It actually makes you probably a little bit more depressed. So you can actually control what you eat. You can do it. It will change your life. So then that leads me to the last one. Brain fog is the reason why you aren't as successful as you think you can be. Brain fog. And you have control over if you have brain fog or not. Everything you do to your body, every person that you hang out with, and the way they communicate with you, everything you put on your body, in your body, it all contributes to brain fog. The clearer your brain is, the more successful you will be. Everything is clear. You can make decisions, and they're usually the right ones. So change the way that you're treating your body. That's it.
Well, I'm an owner of Optimal Bio, and we treat brain fog. So
Great.
That's great. I'm glad you brought that
Go
up.
over there and get that treated.
Well, Anna Lynch, thank you. This
You're
was
welcome.
a great
Thanks for having me.
hot takes today, and good luck and God bless.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us on Hot Takes 50 Cups. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to visit our website at 50cupstea.com for more great content and delicious organic teas, and listen and watch us on all the leading platforms. Stay connected with us on Instagram at 50cupstea, YouTube, and TikTok. And don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share with your friends. Until next time, keep sipping and stay united.